Everybody, today I'm going to be reviewing this YiZhan iDrone. iDrone is kind of the new name that YiZhan is using. It says the newest logo is an upgrade brand for YiZhan. So we actually have two different iDrones, but this one actually does tell you that it is YiZhan. Some of the other ones doesn't even say who it is that makes it, but pretty common and very good brand of a quadcopter. So this is the iDrone called the X4 here, is the name that this one goes by. This is a really neat little micro quadcopter. It flies really nice. Really one of the better flyers that I've had in this class of size. It's got these blue LEDs in the eyes here, and then it's got red in the front arms here and green in the rear. So it's got three different LED colors, and they're quite bright and they look really nice. It's really cool looking flying it indoors or in lower light where you can easily see the lights. Really smooth. It's got three different rates, and the yaw does increase, so I always call that proportional. That's kind of my own term for that, but it increases with each rate. And it doesn't even get crazy. The highest yaw rate is still really nice. It doesn't have any of that crazy yaw or anything that makes it easy to lose orientation. Let's see here. Now, I think these prop guards, I've not tried to, but there's a little screw here and here. So I think you could probably pop these prop guards off, but I've not tried it yet. But I think, you know, for flying this thing, especially indoors, these prop guards, they don't really cause me any problems. They're not as easy to be a hanger, and they certainly can to get caught on something. But I've left them on and had no reason to take them off, because I'm usually not a huge fan of prop guards, but they don't seem to be a problem on this particular quadcopter. Let's see here. It comes with this 350 milliwatt hour 25C, 3.7 volt, 1S LiPo, real standard. The other iDrone I have uses the exact same battery with this micro low-C connector, and it gives you about 6 minutes and 15-second flight time with about a 10-second LVC. So it's really short for this one. I would like to see a little longer LVC, especially because the problem is that as it starts to blink, it doesn't just start to lose power and come to the ground. It'll lose some altitude and then it just drops. So it does cut its motors after about 10 seconds, which something this light, as you'll see in the flight review, will bang it to the ground quite a bit. It's certainly not going to likely to hurt it, but if you're flying this out very far from you outside and you had it up very high, I would have a timer, so as I know I got around 5 minutes or so to start bringing it in close and keep it close to you, just because if it fell from really high up, I guess it could, but it's so lightweight it's not likely to get damaged. But I don't ever like that motor kill feature in any of the drones, so I'm not exactly sure why some of them choose to include that. It comes with this really cool little charger. I like it. It's just a little USB. It doesn't have the big excess wires to mess with. It's got the YiZhan sticker on there. I'm not sure what these little ports are on top. I think they must use this for another kind of battery to charge. It's dual purpose. It looks a lot like those little the little ones you'd put on the back of the Nanos. But it comes with two micro low-C connectors. You can charge two batteries. So I can plug this one into it and charge one, and the light will turn red and go off when it's done. But I can charge both of my batteries for both of my iDrones off this one, because my other iDrone just comes with a single plug in a back charger. It doesn't have dual. So I do like that, because even if you just have one battery when you buy it, you can buy these things for dirt cheap. These are real common batteries, probably $1. They're not going to cost much anything. So then you can charge up two, and you can double your flight time. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and go over the other accessories. It comes with a full set of props. Your two front props and two rear props and a Phillips screwdriver. So pretty standard accessories. I really like this controller. It's not only is it kind of sharp looking and different, but it's bigger for a micro quadcopter, so it's comfortable in an adult's hands. So I really like it. It's got the adjustable antenna on top. It does not have altitude holds, so again, I think that's good for a beginner, not to get dependent on it. It does, however, take a lot of batteries. It takes, I think it takes 6 AA batteries. So I was like, wow, that's a lot of AA batteries. So the range on this should be impressive with that much voltage power in this transmitter. But with something this small, I'm just not going to try to push it very far. I've flown it out, a little ways. But, if you get as far enough as this probably can go, you're going to lose it. There's no FPV, no way of knowing where it is. So It seems like overkill on the batteries, at least for this transmitter, but this could be also a dual purpose transmitter. They may use these for the other ones, and they just kept the cell count the same. It could be used with their bigger the tarantulas or something. I don't know. The top left here is your rates. There's 3 rates, and the yaw does increase, like I said earlier, and it has a nice yaw on all 3. This is your 360 flips button here on the upper right. Just press that in the direction you want to go. Then you've got your full trims for throttle, yaw, pitch, and roll. And that's pretty much it. These are all fake. They're not actual buttons. One version has a screen here. That's pretty much it on the controller. To calibrate the gyros, though, is a bit odd. Just like the other iDrone, it says to go down and to the left, and you have to have the rate in 100%. Which on the other iDrone, the i3S I have, it doesn't matter which rate. But this one, I cannot get the gyros to calibrate. Whenever I press it down to the left, the lights do not blink. I tried it in 100% rate to make sure in case this one does require it, and it does not flash. So I don't know why it doesn't do it, but it hasn't seemed to be a problem when I'm flying it. It seems I've not had any problems with the gyros. I would think if you do, I would just land it, power it off, and back on, bind it, and it should be good. But I've not had the gyros get out of whack. So that's not a deal breaker in my opinion, but I've not seen one that told me the gyro calibration and then didn't seem to function. If it does, the lights are not flashing. Some instruction manuals don't tell you how to do the gyro calibration. So, and then, if I can't figure it out, it's not that bizarre to me, but it's weird to have it in instructions and then it doesn't actually do it. So, I think that is pretty much all the stuff. I'm kind of checking my notes over here. It does 360 flips extremely well, very tight, just like the i3S. It also fights the wind pretty well on the highest rate outside, being so lightweight. I didn't weigh this, but it's extremely light, well below 250, well below FAA registration limits. It's able to fly in the wind real nice. I had a little trouble when it was really gusty, as you'd expect, being so lightweight, but it did better in the wind than I expected. So, overall, this is a nice drone. It's just, the short LVC combined with the dropping, cutting the motors is a little bit annoying, but like I said, you're not likely to break it. And then the gyro calibration not functioning for me. Now, maybe it's possible that it's just my model not wanting to do it. I can't confirm that because the other iDrone i3S does work in the exact same manner. So it's possible that I just have a defective gyro calibration in my drone. I can't tell you for sure. So anyway, that's enough for the table review. We're going to move along to the flight review. My buddy Corey came over, and he is a beginner, a true beginner that's only tried to fly a few nanos. He's had a really hard time flying because, it's hard to start out with these things and fly them and not crash or have them take off because they're not trimmed well out of the box. So I'm going to fly it first, and then he will fly after me. So this is a lengthy review. So please bear with us, because if you want to see a true beginner try to fly and see what he thinks of this drone, and stick through to the whole review. Now the lighting is kind of poor because it was getting dark. We had a floodlight set up in the garage, and I filmed it with the head cam I'm wearing now, and he did not wear one, so when he talks, it is very difficult to hear him. I'm going to have the volume boosted to max, but in future reviews, if we do this, which I want you to let us know in the comments whether you liked it or not. As he's learning to fly, we can kind of chart his progress with these drones. We will put a hat cam on him. Maybe he wears hats a lot. Maybe put my Q6 cam on him, which has a good mic and a same sensors as this. And that way when he talks, we can switch between the video and you can hear him, what he's saying, because he provided some good input, but it's hard to hear unless I want to go through and try to basically put in the subtitles of what he's saying, which I don't think I'm going to do. It is a little hard to hear him, but you might be able to make it out by my response to him of what he's saying, by my response or answer to what he's saying. So I think it's a cool idea, but like I said, this video is going to be very long. So I'm going to wrap this up so we're not making it any longer, and we'll move along to that dual flight review between myself and him. So stick around and please check the flight review now. Hey everybody, today I'm going to be reviewing the YiZhan iDrone X4 is the name of this one. Of course, YiZhan is a pretty popular brand, but they're going by this iDrone, though it still says YiZhan on a lot of the stuff. It is the iDrone branding they use now. This is a neat quadcopter. It flies really well. It does 360 flips extremely well. It's good to fly outdoors. I was flying it in quite a bit of breeze on the highest rate, and it fights the wind pretty well for a micro quadcopter. It does have really cool LEDs in the eyes, the blue, and it's got the red and the green in the arms. So I'll show you when I power it up. But it flies really, really well. But as I mentioned before, earlier, it doesn't have any gyro calibration. It says it does, but I cannot get it to blink. Now I don't know if it's just something with mine, or if it possibly does it and the lights don't flash. It says you need to be at 100% rate, which I was, and it does not flash. It also has a very short LVC of about 10 seconds, and it will cut the motors. So it doesn't just lose power and come to the ground. It will just fall to the ground. But for the micro, you're not likely to bust it. You're not going to find this thing too far away. Now this controller does take 6 AA batteries, so I'm sure this has really good range, but you're not going to be able to see this thing far enough away to even test that range. So I'm going to go ahead and plug it in here. It uses a micro low-C connector. I'll show you the lights here. And there we can see the green in the front, red in the back, and then the blue eyes. So the LEDs are very cool, and they are very easy to see. But it's a very basic quadcopter. The controls, the flips and the rates and the trim, and that's about all you got. So we're going to go ahead and bind it. Should be ready to go ahead and take up. So let's see which rate. Okay, we're going to start out in the lowest rate. There we go, lowest rate. There's a very slow yaw on the beginner's rate. I'm going to go ahead and you have to kind of use your other finger to try to switch rates where that button's located. So the yaw increases more and it even increases more. That's the highest rate. It is pretty sporty in the highest rate. Now it doesn't have altitude holds, so again, it's going to take a little bit more experience flying to fly it, but that's always a good thing. Since this is a little bit larger, I'm going to go ahead and fly it out of my garage, and hopefully there's enough light here to see, and at least see those LEDs. This one does funnels, decent, as you can see. It holds its altitude much better. This is overall a really good flying drone. I have zero complaints about the flying of this. Just the gyro calibration. I'll show you here. Let me see if I can land it here in the driveway. It's supposed to go down and to the left, and that's the highest rate I'm in. I'm gonna go. I'll even show you. 2, 3, down and to the left. Nothing. The lights don't blink. But it flies great, so I have no reason to complain right now. But I would think if the gyros do get messed up, you just need to land it, power it off, and back on. That should reset it once you bind the gyros. Because like I said, I just can't figure out how to get it to work. It's supposed to. Following what the instruction manual does mention it. This is actually a perfect evening to fly. I just don't know how well this is showing up because it's getting so dark. But those LEDs should be visible in the video. Bring it back here in the garage so we can get it in some better light here. Let's just try to do some 360 flips here while we got plenty of battery. That's just the upper right button. Really nice, and look how tight those flips are. That's very much like the iDrone i3S that I also just reviewed. It's a very tight flipper like that. If you're a fan of 360 flips, this is definitely the drone for you because it does them really, really well. Probably one of the best I've seen that's not ducted fan. The Furby F36 flips extremely well. It's ducted fan though. And this one is just, the 2 regular propellers and not ducted. Really agile. I like the LEDs. This is just a really nice little drone. And inexpensive too. And from a good trusted brand. So this is a good brand that that makes good toy grade drones. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this one. This is a nice, the charger does charge 2 batteries, even though it comes with one. So if you want to pick another battery up that fits in here, those batteries are going to be dirt cheap. Then you can charge 2 batteries and get double your flight time. The other iDrone uses the same 350 milliwatt per hour battery, so I just charge both of them up with the dual charger, and I can fly this one 2 times now here. So I can fly this one, or I can fly both of the iDrones. So I love that dual charger. That's some innovative, very simple but innovative thinking on YiZhan's part to do that, to give people that ability to charge up multiple batteries. Has a lot of power. Really nice little toy grade quadcopter. Might fly it outside here one more time, and then that should be enough to show what it does. Like I said, this should have really good range. And it'd be a little easier here at night with the LEDs to be able to see where I'm going, but it's not going to show up in this video very good. Alright, well, I think that's enough to show what this guy can do. This is a cool little quadcopter. Just a few funky things about it with the gyro calibration. You know, some reason not doing that. And, you know, I didn't demonstrate it here. It does have a very short low voltage of about 10 seconds, and then it will just cut the motors and fall. So as soon as you see those lights, you know, you may even put a timer on your phone. You know, it flies around 6 minutes, so, you know, I think it was 6 minutes, a little over. So maybe set your phone for 5.5 to 6 minutes, and when it gets there, just go ahead and bring it down if you're going to be flying it very high, because you won't have a whole lot of time to bring it down before it will cut the motor. So overall, I like this one a lot. So appreciate you for watching, and stay tuned for more reviews, and have a good day. All right, everybody. Something that we're going to do now that's a little bit different with the YiZhan X4 iDrone is my friend Corey's here, and he is, hi Corey, he is I guess you could say a beginner. He's flown a couple drones that hasn't had much success, so he's going to fly it here. To give an idea, if you're a new pilot and you're a beginner and you've never flown anything, how would this do? Would this do a good job for you? Can you at least get it up in the air and fly a little bit without having a disaster? Because if so, then that means this is a really good beginner's drone. And I do think that this is, especially since it has the prop guards on it.
Yeah,
so
I've never had any luck with drones. Every one that I've ever bought, as soon as I get it going up in the air, it takes off and slams into the wall, and I break propellers and everything. So we'll see how this one does.
Yeah, that's something like you said. They do tend to just want to take off. Some of them are skittish if they need trimmed up a lot. And we did take this one up just a moment ago for a very brief test, and I trimmed it a little bit more for my flight. So he's going to take it up here. It's going to be very gentle, a very basic flight, just to let you guys see, and we'll see how he does. And that's okay, because what we're doing on these kind of beginner drone like this is you're not going to worry about you and your yawing. You're just going to try to learn pitch and roll, and that's what Corey's practicing, just to keep it in a nice hover, learn that throttle position, and then you can worry about learning yaw later on, because you just want to learn in a space like this where you're not going to worry about losing it. And this does not have altitude hold, as I mentioned a while ago, so this is good for him to learn with. And it's simple enough just to land it. If you feel like you're going to crash it, just cut the throttle. And he cut the throttle just like you'd want to do. We'll put it back out here again, and he's off to the side. So it's always nice to have the drone in front of you. That way your controls are not reversed, as if it was facing towards you. All right, good job. And look at that. And that's a good thing with these little micros like that. It comes out, yeah, cut the throttle, just catch the thing. I mean, you don't have to worry about it hurting you or anything. It's too small.
I Okay, so far it ain't that bad. I mean, it's not taking off, wanting to slam into a wall on me or anything.
Yep.
I mean, it still wants to come backwards on me a little bit, but.
And you could give it a little bit of forward trim, maybe bump. Yep, forward pitch trim. All right, we'll move it out here. Sometimes you still have to adjust the trim a little bit in between flights. It could be the gyro just a little bit different on its reading. That seems better now.
Oh yeah.
Because last flight it was wanting to do that too. It was wanting to come back at us. You just needed a little bit of reverse trim.
I mean, I notice I'm trying to learn the throttle, and every time I get it, it slams down on the ground. I notice it throws it off a little bit to where it wants to go into one direction.
Yeah, and these micros are pretty delicate about their sensitivity. They can get messed up pretty easy. And since it doesn't have altitude hold, it's going to tend to want to drop on you. It's hard to find that sweet spot on the throttle to where you can get it where you want it. It's easy to either slam into the ceiling or to do, go into the ground like that because it doesn't have altitude hold. But once you learn that throttle position, then you don't have to worry about being dependent on altitude hold. So even though altitude hold is easy to fly, this will make you a much better pilot learning to fly without it and not being so dependent on it.
For the most part, it seems like a pretty good flyer for a beginner like myself. It's like you were saying with the altitude centering, it is kind of tricky trying to figure out if you're not used to using both thumbs to figure which way something's going and knowing which way is front, back, left, right. It starts to get kind of confusing, and then that's when it's hard to keep it in one position.
That's exactly right. The first time that I flew this drone, I went right up into the ceiling because, and when you've never flown a drone, you don't really know how sensitive that throttle stick is. So each drone's different. And I gave it too much throttle. I went over halfway. This drone, you're just fine going up to halfway throttle at the most, and it makes a nice hover. Some drones, you've got to give it more than halfway. So when you're switching between toys a lot, it is more difficult.
Yeah, I'm not even all the way up at the throttle.
Yep.
But it wants to go over there.
And you can get breeze coming in your garage and stuff too. I've dealt with before that will throw the drone around when it's typically not going to do that. So.
But you're also right, being a beginner flyer, not having that centering ability does help you figure out, okay, how much throttle you want and don't want to use,
and now I think it's kind of turned on its side. But if you get it to where it's facing you, that's where all of a sudden your controls become reversed, which is good for learning orientation. And I see now Corey's doing a little bit of yaw, and that's good. And that's a really good way of practicing yaw as he's doing it. Give it a little yaw with it just barely off the ground, so you're not worried about it taking off and slamming into stuff. It's all right there on the ground. You're not going to hurt the drone at all doing that. And these micros are usually pretty rugged because they're not very heavy. This one seems to be really rugged. I see no problems with it crashing.
I'm getting the hell out of it, and it still seems to want to keep going. So I mean,
and it's got a good flight time of at least 6 minutes. Corey's taking it easy on it. It could even go longer here, but like I said, the unfortunate thing is how short its low voltage alarm is. It's just really short, and it's really bad about. I shouldn't say bad. Might be a wrong adjective, but it's just really the way it wants to just drop on you. It cuts its motors very soon. So you always make sure that after you've flown this thing, over 5 minutes, that you go ahead and make sure it's close to the ground. And see, now he's practicing the rates, because we started out in beginner's rate, that's why they call it beginner's rate. Some call it low rate. You're going to have more pitch. It's going to be a lot sportier. So for a beginner, it's going to be harder to fly those in those rates. some of them get that crazy yaw on the highest rates where you can't, even an expert can't keep orientation easily because it's just going crazy. And this one does not have that. The yaw is really nice on all the rates. The yaw, I would say, is proportional to the quadcopter. No, it is fine. I mean, he just bumped the door fine here. The battery did not slide out of the bay, and the prop guards work really well on this. It does appear the prop guards could be removed if you took your screws off the arm and the motor pod. I think so. I haven't tried, but you know, for something like this, I recommend keeping these prop guards on, especially if you're a beginner, because you will break the props if you don't. Oh, hey, that was a good land on the steps. Well, Corey, what do you think? You think this is a good drone for someone starting out?
For someone starting out, yeah, I believe it would be a pretty good drone. Like I said, the drones that I've bought before, they have never had any luck. They want to take off, and as soon as they get up in the air, they take off left, they take off right, or they just slam right into the ceiling, and you're breaking props or breaking the thing altogether. This one, I mean, I barely go up with the throttle, and it has a nice slow takeoff, and it's real easy to learn how to get that throttle going if you're a beginner flyer. And for me, it was real easy to learn the depth of the throttle on it. But for a beginner, yeah, I'd say it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think this would be a drone. There's a lot of them advertised that are good for beginners, and some of them aren't. This one definitely is. It's durable. It flies for a long amount of time. The propellers are well protected, and like I said, it's just a really nice flying drone, and I'm glad that we were able to do this because I think this is a good way of letting people know, hey, is this something that a kid or a first-time pilot should try to fly? Because many times you see, oh, this is a great beginner's drone, and then the person gets it and it doesn't work well. Because so often when you are out there, these are not GPS drones. So they need to be trimmed up when they get up in the air. And if the trim's way off, it may just take off on you, and you just don't have the experience to try to trim that up. Because the best way is to land it and trim it up if you are not able to do it in the air. But if it just takes off on you, you don't have any chance to even do that.
No, not at all. And
no.
That's a bad experience I've had with all the drones that I've bought. You get it going, and you don't have time to, after you read the instructions, you don't have time to, once it's taken off, to start to trim it up, because by that time it's already into the wall or way out of range. There's nothing you can do with it.
And then these toys, they don't do any, they quality control to the extent of the lights work to the motors spin up. So they don't take them up, and you make sure that each one of these is trimmed up. And of course, you always have to trim according to the conditions. But it'd be nice if the drone could take off in a garage like this with no wind blowing around, and the drone would go up and stay and not be, or at least be close and not just take off on you. And that's just where a beginner can't get that trim down. I have trouble with it. If it's off too much and the trim buttons are in goofy spots or something, it's easy to just simply crash it into a wall.
And most kids, when they get these drones, they want to take it right out of the box, and instantly they want to fly it. And that's all they want to do. And instantly they're going to throttle up all the way.
Absolutely.
That's what they're used to, and they're gonna slam that thing right into the ceiling.
Anybody's going to do it. You want to give it full throttle, just like a kid getting in a car might want to put the gas to the pedal the first time. You want to give it full power to see what it can do, and that's not going to work well on a little drone like that.
But for the most part, if you can explain to the beginner, don't throttle up all the way, this drone, I mean, it will work perfectly to somebody to learn how to fly.
I agree, and I think if you are any drone that doesn't have altitude hold, always go less than halfway throttle to start out. If it's not enough, then it doesn't come off the ground much. You go past half throttle, you're likely going to take it up into the ceiling. So I think that wraps up that. That's a really neat idea. It was Corey's idea to come up with doing this idea of letting a beginner try out, and I thought it was a great idea. So we were probably going to do this more on the channel.
If you guys like it, let us know, and we'll do more. I'll try and fly or drive or whatever Ryan's got, and then give my beginners.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you like this idea of letting a beginner. It does make the videos very long. I'm going to try to make the table portions shorter. Now this video is going to be extremely long because we're blabbing a lot, but we're trying to get across the message conveyed to you. So if you've watched the video this far, which I hope that some of you have, let us know in the comments. Do you think this is an idea? We will obviously make the videos more brief than this and with all this blabbing. Do you want to see this and have us do this in the future with drones, cars and boats? But drones are going to be the most difficult for anybody to learn. I don't think Corey's going to have a problem driving a car or a boat. But a drone, yeah.
You'd
And
be surprised.
But just like me, I've not really flown planes. I'd be afraid to go out and try a plane to get going. I'm certainly no expert with the drone. So, well, I appreciate you watching this long review, but I think it was well beneficial to everybody. And have a good day. And we'll certainly be back with some more reviews, including the 4K Me drone, which Corey's going to help me out with. I'm really excited about that. So, have a great day and stay tuned for more reviews.
The power of the dark side.